Welcome to another basketball edition of the Adrienne Ross Show. What a game it was yesterday afternoon when the Indiana Fever took on the Dallas Wings. And I say again, what a game, what a game. It was a game in which Arike Ogunbowale had me really nervous, and all of us in the live, we were quite nervous because, she was just on fire. That's Fiyah, fire. And let's look at the stats here. She ended with, Ogunbowale had 34 points. So she was 34 with 8 rebounds in the game. And Satou Sabally, 25 points, 4 rebounds. But let's get on to the Indiana Fever. What a show-off production from Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. Mitchell went off for 36 points, guys. 36 points and also 6 rebounds. And of course, number 22, Caitlin Clark, 28 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, straight up balling. And it was so much fun in the live chat. We were like, okay, breathe, try to catch your breath, try to breathe. It was a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of good looking basketball. What I want to really focus in on right now, though, are the legends who were in the building and what that means. We had Cynthia Cooper, the Cynthia Cooper, in the house courtside. Now, for those of you who weren't around earlier in the league and you don't know who C. Coop is, let me just tell you a little bit about Cynthia Cooper. First of all, if you've listened to me enough, you know that I was a huge Houston Comets fan. Oh, man, right to the heart, Houston Comets. And Cynthia Cooper in particular, I just had such great respect for her. And so here are some of her accomplishments in the WNBA. 2-time WNBA MVP, 3-time WNBA All-Star, 4-time WNBA champion, and that's back to back to back to back. The first 4 championships of the WNBA, Houston Comets. So, 4-time WNBA champion, 4-time WNBA Finals MVP, 3-time WNBA scoring champion, 4-time All WNBA first team. And that just gives you a little something about Cynthia Cooper. You see why I really loved Coop, loved her game. I literally used to record on the VCR all of the Comets games, and then I would watch them and I would study them, particularly Cynthia Cooper. And then I'd get out on the court and I would put it into practice because there was so much to learn. So I would study and study and study this stuff. And Cynthia Cooper was one I would study. Obviously, also Sheryl Swoopes and Tina Thompson and the other role players on that amazing team. It was amazing. So she was there and she was just giving love to Caitlin Clark. They did the courtside interview, which they really need to stop doing that during the game. But they did the interview. She talked about how far the game has come. She, of course, reminded us of her 4 championships. But she talked about Arike Ogunbowale. She mentioned Kelsey Mitchell. She mentioned Caitlin Clark coming a lot. I mean, she just gave great props. It was wonderful to have her in the building. And then at the end of the game, she had her moment with both Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. There's no sound, but take a look. That's so special because many of these players who appreciate the game, they recognize that they stand on the shoulders of those who came before them. And Cynthia Cooper, at 5'10", 150 pounds during her playing height and weight, yes, I do remember that, she has some tall shoulders to stand on. And you hear them, particularly Caitlin Clark, you'll hear her always giving respect to those players who came before. And you'll hear Cynthia Cooper, when she gave her Hall of Fame speech, she makes sure she gives the respect to those who came before her. And that's what I mean. This is like legacy building. So to have her in there and to have them be able to meet with her afterwards and know that you've laid a foundation that they can then run with, it's really a beautiful thing. And not only that, but we have notice I said the Nancy Lieberman. The Nancy Lieberman calling the game, filling in for Sheryl Swoopes. And I've always had great respect for Nancy. Now, she played before I was old enough, to talk too much on her playing days, except she did end up playing later in the WNBA, coached in the WNBA, played even in the NBA, coached all over, and is coaching for the Big Three, and obviously great success at Old Dominion as a college player. Olympian, you name it, okay? And then obviously doing the announcing of games. And she's such a professional and she knows the game so much. I have such great respect for her. So for her to call that game, and not only just to call the game, but to do what some unfortunately have been hesitant to do, and that is to give Caitlin Clark the respect she deserves for all that she brings to the court and all that she brings to the league. And so it was a joy to hear her say these words.
You know, when I walked in here before the game, there were just hundreds of fans lined up.
Oh, yeah.
What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational, and I just, as a baller to a baller, I just want to say thank you to you, Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely.
For just lifting our game up, you and so many great players. But what you're doing, you're going to make all these women multimillionaires one day, like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did. And we shouldn't hate on her. We should celebrate her, not tolerate her. Yeah, Caitlin Clark is doing a great job just understanding when it's her opportunity, when not. She's precision of how to get her shot off. She's, when you know what you know, you do what you do. And she's by far, she's going to be the Rookie of the Year. I mean, if anybody thinks she's not, feel free to call me or hit me on
exactly.
Instagram or Twitter. And I'd love to have that conversation with you. She's flat out not just that. She's in the MVP conversation in this league.
Here's someone who gets it. And you got to think all the praise that she heaped up. Nancy Lieberman, her head is not in the sand. She knows all that's going on, all that's being said, a lot of the attacks that are happening. And of course, she also knows that there are people who do respect Caitlin Clark. I'm not saying that people don't respect her, but you gotta be appreciative of the skill she brings and all the other pieces. And she said it right there. Some people think that was a direct message to Sheryl Swoopes, whom she was filling in for. I can't speak for that, but it is rather interesting, I would say. Now, Nancy Lieberman, I don't know if you know this, but she's also one who spoke out after Caitlin Clark was body checked by Kennedy Carter. And that, of course, wasn't even the first targeting of Caitlin Clark. And I'm just gonna tell you what she said. Let me read it because I want to make sure I get it right, what she said at the time. Nancy said, if I were Caitlin Clark, I would have punched her in the face. But I'm from New York, and I would have told her to beep off. And I remember hearing her speak those words, and she said what she said. She said, now I'm not advocating violence, and I'm sure she would, she's not saying that people should do this. She's saying, if I were Caitlin Clark, I'd have punched her in the face. But I'm from New York, and so I would have told her to, whatever. She was born in Brooklyn, but she went to Far Rockaway High School, and I know that because that's in Queens. And in fact, I think my best high school basketball game, if I remember correctly, was playing against Far Rockaway. Of course, Nancy Lieberman was not there at the time, as she's quite a bit older. But if I remember correctly, it was Far Rockaway where I had 26 points and 5 3-pointers. That was the best game of my high school playing. And I believe that was against Far Rockaway. So in any case, yeah, she's a class act. And she was making a point there that somebody's going to have to push back so this stuff can stop. And also, of course, she's a great announcer, and her knowledge of the game is just top notch. But I have to say that I think it's sad that on a day where you've got these young, talented players, such as Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell and Arike Ogunbowale and the others who are there. And in the same building, you have the legendary Cynthia Cooper and the legendary Nancy Lieberman. And you don't have someone else who was supposed to be in the building, who is a legend also, but for whatever reason, seems to be allowing, for whatever reason, again, Caitlin Clark to keep her from being on her game and to keep her in the eyes of people, someone they can respect. People are trying to figure out what is going on. Why is Sheryl Swoopes doing what she's doing? Now, ain't nobody called me and told me why she wasn't at the game, but I think most of us can put 2 and 2 together. I did a video yesterday. I don't know if it was the WNBA that said, sit this one out. I don't know if it was the Dallas team that says sit this one out. I sort of was inclined to believe it was more Sheryl Swoopes saying, I will sit this one out because I don't even want to say her name. In a game like this, in a time like this where people are coming together and they are celebrating this sport and the sport is being elevated and there are more eyeballs on it, you would want everybody who could have been in the building to be in the building. And she had the opportunity to be there with her former teammate. And for whatever reason, she'd have to speak on that. For whatever reason, she was missing. What a missed opportunity. It's sort of like a passing of the baton that she was not a part of because she got whatever issue she has. But in any case, great game. I'm glad that I was able to watch. I'm glad that I had people watching and cheering with me and fretting just a little bit. Okay. All right. So listen, we're continuing to grow. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button, please. And God willing, I will catch you next time. God bless you abundantly.